Hello and thanks for watching. This is my second part of my Films of the Year post. I've done 10 to 6 already. That were number 10, if you didn't see it, was Hunger Games: Catching Fire. Number 9 was Thor: The Dark World. Number 8 was Captain Phillips. Number 7 was Gravity, and number 6 was Blue Jasmine. So straight on with number 5 then. Yeah, you ready for that? Okay, number 5 is another blue movie. Here we go. Yeah, number 5 then is Blue is the Warmest Colour, because I'm pretentious and I want to put a subtitled film in there. No, it's not because of that. It's a brilliant, brilliant film. You've probably, well, I hope you've probably heard of it. It's the film with all the lesbian sex in, essentially. It's a brilliant film. It's directed, I'm going to look this up just to make sure I've got it right. It's Ability Caniche, I'm going to say, Caniche. Yeah, it's called in France, like The Life of Adele, chapters 1 and 2 or something like that. Adele being the main character, the actress is called Adele Exarchopoulos, something like that, Exarchopoulos, and she plays Adele, who is a schoolgirl at the beginning of the film, in France, obviously, and she hasn't really had a relationship yet. There's a guy who kind of likes her at school, so you see a lot of scenes with her at school, chatting with her friends, does this guy like you, and that sort of stuff, and it's a real thing in this film. Everything feels so completely real. You forget that you're in a cinema. You forget you're reading subtitles. It just feels like you're watching this person's life for about 3 hours. It is, and it's just phenomenal film. There's scenes of Adele, some real close-ups of her just like eating spaghetti, which is the dish her dad makes her really well, and like playing with her hair, pulling her jeans up and stuff. And she's just such a real person. Not like, oh, she's real, sister, but just like, just feels like a real person. You're watching real life. And yeah, so as I said, it's a lesbian movie in that she then sees this girl with blue hair, hence blue is almost colour, played by, is it Leah Seydoux? She sees her just crossing a street and she's sort of fascinated by her. She has a dream about her. And at first it scares her, I'm not going to try and talk for gay people or lesbians or anything like that, but as I guess that may be a common thing for people like that. Yeah, basically she can't get her out of her head. She tries to get with this guy that's a really nice guy, seems really nice actually, into music, but it doesn't really do it for her. And then she goes out to try and sort of find this girl that she'd seen that one time. So she goes out with her friend Valentin, who's really cool as well. He's gay, he goes to a gay club, and she sort of goes over the road to the lesbian bar and finds this girl there, and she comes over to her, and she's the kind of complete opposite of Adele. She's very, very confident. She's, confident as a lesbian. She's just really kind of everything Adele isn't. We find out later when they start sort of seeing each other a bit how different their backgrounds are, their lives are, because she's kind of very much into the art world, very artisan. Her parents are really kind of, I guess you'd say, middle class. She goes around there for dinner, and that's one of the best things in the film, that they both go to each other's parents for dinner, and Adele goes over to her house, and the family are really posh. They completely welcome her. They give her oysters or some seafood, and they talk to her, and they're just really nice. And not that Adele's family aren't nice, but they're much more working class, and they sort of say, so what does your husband do? And she just introduces her as a friend, and they have this big bowl of spaghetti sort of thing. So it's very brilliant at showing the difference between them. And yeah, there's some brilliant scenes in this film. There's a moment where Adele's at an artisan-y kind of party with all her friends, and they're all just real pretentious, just talking nonsense, and she just wants to be completely out of there. And you just feel for her so much in that situation. It's just brilliantly done. And there's scenes where all her friends sort of find out she's been seeing this girl, and the way they react just feels completely real as well, like something that could easily happen, and probably happens all the time at schools. I will talk about the sex. I thought it did go on a bit. Not, yeah, I don't know. I think it was necessary where it happened. It shows the difference between when she has sex with a man and when she's with her girlfriend. It does that well. It does show how completely different it is, and how it opens her mind and all this sort of stuff. It shows how happy they are and how close they are. and also in the kind of downfall or pitfalls in their relationship. It shows that completely as well. But there's one very, very long scene, very graphic, showing all these different positions and stuff, and the woman next to me was literally just sitting there like covering her eyes, and I think it's about 6 minutes or something, which in the course of a 3-hour film isn't a very high percentage of the runtime, but there aren't really any articles about this without mentioning the sex, so it is a big thing in the film. There's lots of stories about how they were kind of not badly treated, but they sort of had to film these scenes for days and stuff like that, so they don't seem entirely happy with it, but it's a brilliant film, and Adele Sashopoulos, I can't remember what I said her name was. She is absolutely amazing in this. She's one to watch out for. She should get all the awards. I know they won the Palme d'Or at Cannes this year, shared between the actresses. So yeah, I'd recommend that as long as you're fine with watching lots and lots of lesbian sex. You might be, you might not be. So now moving on to my top 4, and that starts with a film that has this quote in it that I'll probably do completely wrong. You are equally responsible for getting me back on the track. Yeah, you probably didn't guess from my awful impression. That was my impression of Daniel Bruhl as Niki Lauda in Rush. Rush came out probably beginning of the second quarter of the year type time. Directed by Ron Howard. It's basically the relationship and rivalry between James Hunt, played by Chris Hemsworth, his second film in my top 10. Probably the only actor who's got 2, actually, thinking about it. Well done him, I bet he's pleased with that. And Daniel Bruhl as Niki Lauda. They were Formula 1 racers. I don't think Formula 1 travels that well to like an American audience so much, but over in Europe it's sort of on every Sunday over here, and it's pretty boring. But this film makes it exciting. I don't like Formula 1. I had a passing interest when I was little, and Michael Schumacher sort of dominated it. I think that's meant to be like the most boring time of the sport, so that's probably why I'm not keen on it. It's pretty boring at the moment as well, with Vettel. But anyway, this is James Hunt, and he's a real kind of playboy driver. He smokes, he has lots of sex with Marjorie from Game of Thrones and Olivia Wilde, and yeah, he's really cool. He's this British kind of playboy, as I said, and comparing him to Niki Lauda, then Niki Lauda is a real kind of scientist kind of approach. He's not very likeable, to be honest. He's a real kind of, he doesn't want to have any fun, basically. He's a real stickler to all the rules. He's really serious all the time. But Daniel Bruhl is amazing in this film. Taking nothing away from Chris Hemsworth, I think it's good to see him playing a real person after seeing him in like Thor, and well, he's good in Cabin in the Woods actually. But anyway, it's nice to see him playing a real life person then. But Daniel Bruhl sort of steals it for me. I don't want to really ruin too much, but it's their rivalry over the season. So obviously one of them is going to win the title at the end of it. So a lot of people will probably go in knowing who won it. I didn't myself because, as I say, I don't care about Formula 1 really. But it's such a gripping film. Some people have said it's a bit simplistic, kind of showing James Hunt is completely one way and Niki Lauda is completely another way, and sort of emphasising the rivalry, which wasn't actually that true at real life, because they were friendly rivals in real life, and this sort of paints them as being real kind of enemies, certainly to begin with. As I say, it's a really good film. The sound in the film is literally amazing. There's vrooms all over the place. There's a kind of soundtrack that's really good. It's really well directed, as a sort of, not biopic, but showing a part of their lives. And it's just really interesting. Hopefully lots of people have found this film this year and enjoyed it as well. So then, we are now on to my top 3. And the next one is my first and only animated film in my top 10. So I will say, I'm gonna wreck it! Scared myself with that one. So 2013, there's lots of good animated films actually. Despicable Me 2 was the most successful at the box office, and that's a really, really good film. So it's not that, and my number 3. And then also this year we've had from DreamWorks, we've had The Croods, which did really well. Was that Universal? Anyway, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, Turbo. They were both quite good actually. I really enjoyed Turbo, surprisingly. Disney this year has had Frozen recently, coming out in December. And that's brilliant. That's up there with any Disney film, any of the classic Disney films. It's got brilliant songs in it, written by the Book of Mormon guys, and it's really funny throughout. It's just a brilliant film. Monsters University was good as well, from Pixar this year. But my favourite animated film of the year came out ages ago now, in January or February. It was up for the best animated film at the Oscars last year, which Brave won. and Brave shouldn't have won that, to be honest. I much prefer WreckIt Ralph. I preferred Frankenweenie, to be honest, to Brave, and probably Paranorman as well. But anyway, we're not talking about last year. This year, WreckIt Ralph came out, and I absolutely loved it. I'm a gamer. I like playing video games, and this is all set around sort of arcade games, games in the arcade. WreckIt Ralph, the title character, then, is basically the Donkey Kong style villain in a game called Fix It Felix. Fix It Felix. And it's a really good voice cast all round. There's John C. Reilly plays WreckIt Ralph, and there's people like Jane Lynch, people like that in it. And it basically does to video games what Toy Story did to toys. In kind of, it shows WreckIt Ralph behind the screen. Basically, he goes back and talks to all these characters from other games, and they all mix worlds. And it's got real potential for sequels as well. It's just brilliant to see all these different styles basically interacting. There's kind of Cubit in there, and there's a kind of Call of Duty style game, and kind of this sort of racer game, sort of Mario Kart meets Candy Crush type thing in the Candy Kingdom. It's a really, really nice film. It has Vanellope Von Sweets, played by Sarah Silverman, and I'm not really a Sarah Silverman fan, but obviously that doesn't matter in this because it's animated. But yeah, it's really good. She's a sort of glitch in the game, and it shows that glitches can be, you know, they can be special and they can be amazing too. And it's really, really funny. It looks amazing, and it's probably just because I'm such a big fan of games and of animated films that it really kind of resonated with me and hit a note with me that I absolutely loved it. There's loads of little references hidden throughout that anyone with a passing knowledge of games will appreciate. But I mean, you don't need to know games to like the film. I'm sure kids love it, and yeah, I just absolutely love the film. It's a brilliant film, and I want to watch it again now. I haven't seen it in ages, so that's probably why I can't remember it as well as I'd like to. But that's my number 3 film, my favourite animated film of the year. Moving then on to my top 2. And my number 2, am I going to sing here? I don't know if I am. Okay, yeah, my number 2 film is Les Miserables. Yeah, I saw Les Mis with my whole family at the beginning of the year, and I love this film. I won't sing it a little bit. I won't sing it. I sing it all the time. That's why I want to sing it so much, because I absolutely love this film. Anyone who's kind of been with me over the last year will know they've probably heard me sing this song at some point. Probably Javert's part from One Day More, maybe. I did actually lock some people in a room to sing them this at one point. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So Les Mis came out a very, very long time ago. It was in last year's Oscars batch, as I said. So Argo won Best Film last year, brilliant film. But Les Mis I really like. I mean, I like Argo. I liked a lot of the Oscar films actually. Zero Dark 30 was brilliant, but for me, I just prefer Les Mis because I really, really liked it. I went to see the musical this year after I saw the film, and I prefer the film, to be honest. I mean, I really enjoyed the musical, but it's sort of everything about the film was brilliant. It did things that they can't do on stage. They can't do these really big close-ups so you can see Anne Hathaway snotting, and these really massive wide shots of them building, knocking down bits of boats and all this sort of stuff, and you can see all the kind of streets of Paris. And yeah, it's had a brilliant cast. What's his name? Russell Crowe gets really heavily criticised for his singing in this film, but I thought it worked. I mean, probably being a complete denier, but Javert's my favourite thing in the film. I love him. I could watch him the whole time. He really is a kind of panto villain, and it's partly maybe because of his different style of singing, shall I say, that he works so well as a villain, because it's sort of like a boo when he comes on screen. So yeah, I love him. Hugh Jackman's amazing in it. He transforms as Jean Valjean, or 24601, Monsieur Le Maire, whatever other name he wants to go by. He transforms, he has a beard, he doesn't have a beard, he's kind of really thin and gaunt, and he's kind of more healthy. It spans the period of basically Cosette's life. Yeah, I won't go into the plot because I imagine people know the plot. But yeah, it's a brilliant film. I love the songs. Anne Hathaway's amazing, as you can probably guess from the fact she won the Oscar, even though she's on screen for about 15 minutes probably. Yeah, and I just absolutely love this film. Everyone's brilliant in it. Amanda Seyfried I'm not that bothered about in it. I think Samantha Barks is brilliant as Eponine. She's amazing. And all of Marius's kind of men The fighting are brilliant as well. And yeah, I love the film. That's why it's my number 2 film. So it just then misses out on the top spot of my favourite films of 2013. So before I actually reveal the big moment of what my favourite film is, you can maybe have your guesses. Have you got thoughts? No? I'll say lots of other films missed out on this. I can only include the ones that I've seen, obviously. I hear things like Nebraska, Dallas Buyers Club, and things like that are really good. But I haven't seen them, so I can't rate them. I've seen lots of other films, things like Star Trek and Man of Steel I did really enjoy. Philomena's really good. Some of the animated films I mentioned when I was talking about WreckIt Ralph as well have been brilliant. Anchorman 2 I did quite enjoy, to be honest. Prisoners was good. But enough with this Dermot O'Learying. I will reveal that my top film of the year is... That is it. My favourite film of 2013 is The Place Beyond the Pines. This came out fairly early on in the year, actually, so it's not going to be one of the sort of Oscar films of the year, but it's a film I have seen in quite a lot of lists of film of the year. It obviously stars Ryan Gosling on all the posters, Bradley Cooper as well. They're probably the main two that are on the posters, also Eva Mendes. It's directed by Derek Cianfrance, who directed Blue Valentine, also with Ryan Gosling, obviously. And that's a film I really do like. It's obviously very sad. And this film definitely has some sad moments in it as well. I'm not going to ruin the plot at all, obviously, because that would be bad of me, because it's good to enjoy a film without having it spoiled. But Bradley Cooper's a sort of cop, and, well, a sort of cop, he is a cop. And Ryan Gosling's a kind of stunt motorcycle driver who also does some kind of dodgy things on the side, bank heists, that sort of thing. So it's fairly similar in a way to Drive, where he's a kind of stunt driver and also a getaway driver. He's got his two sort of lives, I guess. And Eva Mendes is his sort of partner, mother of his child, ex-partner, should I say, mother of his child. And Ryan Gosling is as good as he always is. I absolutely love Ryan Gosling in things like Half Nelson and yeah, even things like Ides of March, Drive, obviously. Yeah, I love Ryan Gosling anyway, I don't need to prove that to you. Yeah, and Bradley Cooper's really good in this. I didn't really take him seriously until Silver Linings Playbook, which he's very good in, and then he's brilliant in this as well. It's quite a long film. It's sort of 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 2 hours 20 minutes, that sort of thing. But it's very much a 3-part film. It shows the first kind of third focuses on Ryan Gosling, I would say. The second third on Bradley Cooper, and then the final third on Dane DeHaan, who is it's set later on. He's Ryan Gosling's son. And Dane DeHaan's an actor I really do like. Not as much as my girlfriend, who's obsessed with him. But yeah, he's brilliant. He's going to be Harry Osborn in the new Spider-Man film. And he's in Kill Your Darlings, which I didn't get to see this year. And things like Lawless and Lincoln, briefly. Yeah, anyway, it's a really good film. It's very, very sad, as I said. It's just really, really good. I don't really know what much to say about it, but it's the film I came out of thinking, that is my film of the year when I came out of it, and I haven't changed my opinion on that at all. It's a brilliant film. It deserves a bit more recognition, I would say. That's why it's my top film. So hopefully this recognition will be the recognition it needs, obviously. Yeah, so that is my end of year films of the year thing. Hopefully you've seen my bottom 5 as well, because there were some bad films this year as well. And yeah, I will leave you with that then. That's my films of the year. Let me know what you think, or link me to your lists if you've done one, and we can talk about that, and that'll be fun. Yeah, so I look forward to films in 2014, and maybe I'll be back here next year, probably in the same Christmas jumper. Probably not in the same flat, actually. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching, and have a brilliant New Year, and have a brilliant everything, Christmas, all that. Yeah, bye.